So this is a builder that probably doesn't get talked about a lot, but maybe they should, or maybe they shouldn't be on your radar if you're looking at a new construction home here in DFW. I've got a builder, their price range is about 400 to just right under $1 million. Had a couple people ask about them, what are my thoughts? What do we think? Where do they fall kind of in the rankings? Haven't talked much about them. So today we're going to do a little bit of a deep dive and talk about this one particular builder, and should they be something you should consider, or should you look elsewhere? The builder we're talking about in question today is Normandy Homes. They've got a couple different communities here in DFW, so we'll jump in, talk about some of the details you need to know, some things I've found that you might want to consider before jumping in and buying or not buying from Normandy Homes. So if we haven't met before, my name is Zach. My team and I, we sell new construction real estate here in DFW. That's about all that we do. So whether you are buying from a builder's inventory, you're building from the ground up, and you need help and you need representation, we would love to help with that. Contact information is always, it's going to be right in the little boxy thing right there. At the bottom of the screen, reach out if you have questions. Let's get into talking about Normandy Homes. So they have been around since 2012. So we're, 13 years of building here in DFW, and we'll look at where they're building here in a minute. So they've been around since 2012. They are owned by Green Brick Partners. So they're a subsidiary of Green Brick, and you're like, I wonder if I've heard that name before. Well, you have. So Green Brick has a ton of land development opportunities here in DFW. They do a lot of development for builders, and the other name that is connected to Green Brick is Trophy Signature Homes. So this is another one of those companies that's owned by Green Brick. Normandy and Trophy are separate, other than they're both owned by Green Brick. So that's to be known. Also, that means that they are publicly traded. And now, don't hear me say because builders are publicly traded that makes them bad. It doesn't. It's just, it is a thing. It's a data point, right? It does mean that sometimes when builders are publicly traded, they answer to their stockholders or to the market of, what they're where they're trying to make money. Does that mean that they cut corners and do things? They can. But I don't think that's the case in terms of Normandy. From what I've seen in walking their homes and seeing their product and doing some research, I don't think that's the case. My personal preference, I do like the companies that are a little bit more, that are privately held, but that's more of a personal preference than anything. So it really doesn't matter one way or another. As far as location goes, they are not very well spread out in DFW. So really the only places you're probably going to find them is to the north. So Frisco, Prosper, Allen, McKinney, and we'll pull them up in the map and look at them here in a minute. So they're in a couple different spaces up there. And one of the things I think that's always important to look at is who else is in there with these builders, because what happens is developers don't want a massive gap between the qualities of these builders, right? So like if they're putting Highland in there, they're not putting Lennar in there. Those you'll never see them together because they are a vastly different builder. So when you look at these neighborhoods, you're like, okay, well, who else is in there? Then that kind of helps determine what and how, the quality of that builder. So we'll look at the map here in a minute. Construction wise, from what I can tell, it looks like they are using a dry line sheathing. They're using a 3/4 inch second story decking, and of course, borat treating the framing, which is what all builders should be doing. Floor plan wise, I think they've got some good open concepts. We will take a look at those. Feels like it's got a little bit more of a modern design, but also probably a little bit limited in their customization selections. I think they have some good selections, but you may feel some limitations based on what you might feel against another builder. And I think that is reflective in how they price or don't price, but I think their floor plans lay out really well. And we'll look at them in a moment and just kind of go through those things together. Kind of the things I've heard, like feedback wise, from a couple different people that we've talked to, and they said, hey, give me your pros and cons about them. It seems like their customer satisfaction does well. Their sales process, like the way that they, negotiate, write contracts, design, build, like it seems really straightforward. And we've had good customer service experiences when we've sent clients out to have conversations with them. It's a solid quality build, energy efficient. All of those things I think are good. Some of the downsides that we have heard from people and talking to other agents or talking to people who have had maybe less than stellar experiences was some occasional inconsistencies in the finish outs in their homes. So, hey, we thought we were getting this, we ended up getting this, certain upgrades that didn't translate one way or the other. Also, it feels like some like things that should be standard in some ways end up becoming upgrades, and you kind of are like, well, what are we doing? Like, why are we doing that? As far as warranties go, I think they're pretty generally run of the mill. I mean, let's be honest, every builder, warranty is not fun. Even if their warranty process is absolutely phenomenally handled, it's still not gonna be, sunshine and roses regardless of the builder. But it seems like they have a good streamlined warranty process. And of course, there's always with every builder gonna be minor delays, reported based on people's personal experiences. So I think that kind of gives us a baseline of what we're looking at when we're talking about Normandy. I'm going to share my screen. Let's look at their website, see if we can find a couple other answers on there, look at some floor plans, and then just kind of take a look at where they're at and maybe find some customer reviews. So let me get you guys on screen. I'll make myself small, and we'll talk about that here in just a second. Because the internet's a great place. We'll start on Reddit because let's just kind of see what people are saying. So somebody said, hey, we're looking at them in McKinney, close to 121. Tell me what you think. And people off and on, both great. I love reading people's experiences about, hey, here's kind of what we're thinking. And everybody's like, buy a resale home. And I'm like, no, don't do that. But this is the one that caught my attention right here. So we bought a Normandy home. So far, very happy with the quality of the builder. The contractors they hire out can be tricky. Sometimes they don't do a perfect job, but it was a QA process that caught it and fixed things. They caught some cosmetic things we didn't notice and emailed us to let us know they would fix them. One time we caught something and realized that they were already planning on fixing it. They allow you to do inspections at all stages, which is huge. They go through and explain. Basically, I felt like the care and quality was maybe more important to us. The house looks nice, so not compromise on appearance. They just reduced the price, by the way, which makes them at a great price point. So we looked at them at Stacy Crossing, agree with our comments above. So I think that's an important thing. But I think that's also important to say to you guys, like, regardless of the builder you choose, they're going to have hundreds of different subcontractors, right? They're going to have brickers, they're going to have concrete guys, they're going to have sheetrockers, they're going to have tile guys, they're going to have cabinet companies, they're going to have window companies, they're going to have all these different companies, and no builder ever is going to give you the contact information for every single person that's going to walk in your house. That's not the way the business is going to work. If you want to do that, you need to GC your own contract, and you're going to be a lot of fun at parties. They're just not going to give you that, but the hope is that they are actively walking their sites and reading these conversations. It looks like they are. They caught a couple cosmetic things. They emailed us. They fixed them. We love that. They allowed us to do inspections. I love reading that because those third-party inspections I think are so huge in the new construction space. And the best thing I think I read in that comment was, hey, when things were wrong, they were active in trying to help us fix it. That is probably, to me, one of the most important things when it comes to talking about builders and talking about quality and new construction is, hey, how does, it's not if something goes wrong, it's when, and how do they respond? How do they help us work through that? How does our construction superintendent work with that? Because sometimes, I'll be honest with you, not just to Normandy, but I've had great builders, like great companies, and sometimes we get a not so great construction superintendent, and that makes or breaks the whole process. And on the flip side, I've had builders that I'm like, I'm not really sure about this. I don't know what this is going to be like, that had a phenomenal individual, like construction project manager that was on top of everything and like blew us out of the water. So both can be true both ways. But I love seeing, hey, we're incredibly happy with our build. They took care of us. Those are the kind of wins in my book. So we'll go back. We looked at Reddit. Let's go actually to their website and just do some exploration and see your next moves. Oh, hello. Check it out. Quick move-ins. 4.99 rates. I love seeing builders advertise this because I think this is what's helping move homes right now. So many builders are saying, hey, we're buying down rates and spending lots and lots of money to get us to where we need to be. So as we were talking about communities, so they are in a couple different communities up to the north. So Cross Creek Meadows, Hazelwood in Frisco, Painted Tree, which is one of those massive ones in McKinney, Heights at Uptown Celina, Twin Creeks, Villages on Main. They've got one community way down there. They ain't got nothing on the east side as of right now. Maybe they'll expand. Watson Branch and Mansfield. So good communities to be in. We've seen, like Windsong. Windsong is a community that has won neighborhood of the year or community development of the year. So if they're in Windsong, And obviously, they're priced to be in Windsong. There's some heavy hitters in that space, so they have to be putting out a good quality product in order to be able to compete there. So let's take a look. Quick move-ins. If you wanted Normandy, we'll just go low to high. So on the low end, you've got a 40-foot home site. So this is 472, 3-bed, 2-bath, 2 stories, 2397. Let's take a look at it and see if we can see anything fun. So 518 on a quick move-in home. So on a 40-foot lot in Celina at about a 500 purchase price, that feels about normal to what we see in Celina. We've got, so we went back and got to navigate the website here a little bit better, Zach. Come on, buddy. So good opportunities there. If we look on their high end, so they're not going to be, looks like, 472 and above. High end, I think probably right at $1 million. Yeah, 985. So 4-bed, 2 stories, 3,500 square feet. This is going to be ready in September. 948, 985. Let's just take a look at this home. Let's see if we can see any interesting things about it that might be worth a look. But yeah, like I said, I feel like design-wise, floor plan-wise, they lay out really well. Okay, got the floor plan loaded for that one in Frisco. So 4.5 bath, so downstairs, bedroom, garage, study, owner's suite. So looks very, very open. And then upstairs, media room, bedroom, game room, all kinds of good things to look at there. So not a ton of spaces, not in nothing out east and nothing under. It looks like 400,000. In terms of what I would say where they rank, ultimately, like if you've been around my channel, you know for sure, my ultimate probably favorite builder in terms of value, customer service, and quality is Highland. So that's to me is the gold standard, would be Highland. So I would say they're good. They're not Highland. Another one that we really like is Shaddock, and it's like people ask like, hey, how do those compare? Those, so Highland, Shaddock, and then probably a close behind a Shaddock would be Normandy. So not elevating to here, but not down there. I think you've got good opportunities if you're looking at them. It looks like they have some great incentives on their inventories. Like I said, kind of some modern design in those places. Like they're in the Windsong Ranches, they're in Celina, they're in the right places. So I think if I was looking at them, I would give them a consideration, especially if I was trying to consider something up north. Now, if you're looking at that and you're like, I don't really like, I'm out, I'm good. I have a tool for you. We talk about this a lot, so I'm just going to show it to you. I don't even know where to start. What I'm going to show you, you're going to open your browser, you're going to type it in, you're going to go to my website right there. It's going to load, and you can go on here and listen. We've built this for you guys. See all the content we've got coming out. You can also, the best thing on here though is if you go up top, you go to DFW's hottest deals, you can search directly for new construction. So you don't have to look at any of the resale stuff. You don't have to look at all the craziness. We can browse directly new construction by floor plan, by builder, by community, by time, when it's going to be ready. Everything's set up, ready to go for you guys as you're browsing new homes. So I'm going to show you that, but also I can put we got the little QR code thingy. We'll put it over here. Scan that if you need help. Like I said, knowing I don't even know where to begin to look. We try our best to only recommend builders that we ultimately I would put my family in, if I'm just being transparent with you. I don't want to sell from a builder that I would not want my family living in, or I wouldn't want to put, anything that people I know, I'm like, I wouldn't want to put you in that. So Normandy, I think to me falls on the list of, hey, they're a good quality. If they're in a space, I would look at them. So far, haven't had anybody have any bad experiences. We read a couple of good experiences online. I think you've got a great opportunity there if you're looking at them in the northern part of the Metroplex. So hopefully this was a little bit helpful for you. If you still have questions, as always, leave them in the comments down below. Let us know. And if we can help in any way, contact information we're going to go right here. Go like, ready? 1, 2, 3. We'll figure it out in editing. It'll be awesome. All right, guys, thanks for hanging out. Appreciate you. We hope we helped today. If not, we'll see you in our next video. Bye.